artist and fashionista, our neighbor here, Laura Madden, is known as a sustainable artist. What some of us might see as trash, Laura puts her magic fingers on and creates it into a one-of-a-kind art. You may have seen her on the cover of So Scottsdale and Green Living magazine and a few TV spots here as well, but today she's sitting at the table with me to talk all about her journey to becoming a sustainable artist. Laura, I am so excited to be here with you. Your energy when you walked into the room was amazing. So you have this tagline I love, creating a life of style and sustainability. Tell me what that means and how you live by that.
Well, pretty much every area of my life is style and sustainability. I love it. And, you know, it's kind of like my passions, my two passions. And I would say style really came first. That like literally started from like a very young age. I started learning about sustainability like maybe like 2015-ish. Okay. And eventually it kind of like morphed into my one main like purpose. Everything I share, it's got to come down to like sharing style and sustainability, more style, less waste, and just demonstrating, you know, like we can do this.
Yeah, we can.
You know? You
talk about that. You said style. You've loved being a shopper ever since. You love clothes. You love fashion. You just love that industry, which is great. And then it was a documentary in 2015 that kind of changed your mind. So tell me about growing up and how fashion just really was so much a part of your life. And tell me about this documentary, True Cost, that kind of changed how you see fashion and perceive it.
God, well, you know, I feel like I came out of the womb just obsessed with fashion.
I love it.
And it was always like more of like the fantasy of fashion and how it can transform you. And I grew up with a serious weight problem. And so for me, fashion was just like the fantasy. You know, it kind of like kept me going. It was like the grass is greener over there, you know.
Oh, I get that, yeah.
But it gave me something to aspire to. And so it grew into like my total obsession. You know, I was definitely kind of like a fashion victim / holic, I don't know. But it was always kind of like my dirty little secret, you know, my like guilty pleasure. And then it was 2015, I watched that documentary, The True Cost, and it stopped me dead in my tracks because I realized like this guilty little pleasure, my habit, like I always thought, you know, it's just shopping. I'm not hurting anyone. Well, after watching this documentary, I learned, well, you know, actually I am hurting a lot of people, and my habit is really, really like wreaking havoc on the planet. You know, just over shopping, overbuying. How much can I buy for how little money? And, you know, just fashion lover for sure. And so it just stopped me dead in my tracks. And I realized, you know, oh my God, like I need to do this differently. And I knew like my passion for shopping and, you know, I'm just like a maximalist. So I knew that would never go away. But it's like, okay, how can I be part of the solution and not the problem? And very accidentally, I found secondhand shopping. But that started entirely as an environmental stance. It is still an environmental stance. But, you know, but I find the best stuff. Like, I just find the best stuff. So I am like, you know, it's kind of like an obsession. It's almost like a game now, you know, like it's almost like changing the narrative around it, changing people's perception of what it means to shop secondhand and, you know, just repurposing, upcycling. You know, there's still that stigma that it's kind of like earthy, crunchy.
Right, and it's not.
And it's not. It doesn't have to. It can be.
Yes.
If you so choose, like, you can do that. But that, like, always held me back from accepting that, oh, you know, this is meaningful. This is something I should explore because I always thought, you know, it was going to infringe upon my style. You know,
it's not just adding to your style, though.
It has.
I mean, really, right?
It has.
I really love that, and you and I kind of touched on this too. Fast fashion is nothing good about it, and if you really get into it, you understand how it's the factories that's polluting the earth. It's the amount. I mean, I read it 200,000 gallons for one pair of jeans. I mean, that's crazy.
It's astronomical.
And I mean, I don't know if you know, but we live in a desert. There's no water here to begin with. And I know we're not all making jeans in our backyard and stuff like that.
Right, but just think every purchase.
Right.
You've just used up, I think it's 1,800 gallons.
That's crazy. That's just crazy to me.
For me, those numbers, I have a hard time not buying secondhand now.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. And I don't know if you, like me growing up, I mean, I used to wear my friends' clothes all the time. Like once a day, I just couldn't keep them. So if I'm wearing someone I know, you go clean them. I buy secondhand clothes for all my kids all the time. We're always sharing.
Awesome.
It's just, I am really becoming more conscientious of it. And everything that I do is I'm being more aware of how this is affecting us long term and stuff like that. And I think it's really has to be on the forefront of our mind. So I love that you're already ahead of the game in that sense. How did this fashion now turn into art for you? Have you always been an artist? Has it been in you and you didn't discover how to pull that passion out? Tell me your journey to becoming an artist.
Yeah, I would say it's always been in me. I never valued my passion for making art. I never really felt like I could accept myself as an artist. It was always one of those things that I did, but it just seemed like too weird, too obscure. I would never want anybody to know I was an artist. And for my entire adult life, I've always made my own art. But it was just to decorate my own homes. Every time we moved, I would make my own art. But I never really told anyone, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I really just thought people would think it was weird. So it was just kind of like, it would never have left my mouth. You know, like people would ask sometimes about certain things and I would share. But I just never valued it. And then we moved back to Arizona in 2018. And I don't know, it's kind of like one of those things, I just couldn't outrun it anymore. I was really making a lot of art to decorate our home here. And it came together really quickly. And I did hear probably one too many times, people would come into my home and say, you know, don't you want to sell this stuff? Like, you know, you really could sell this stuff, you know, if you wanted. And so finally, like, just the wheel started turning. And, you know, at that point, I was starting to realize, like, I needed canvases so quickly, so I would just repaint over old stuff. And I had been doing that for a while, and it was more just like convenience. Like, I didn't want to have to run out to the store and get new supplies, so I would just remake something I already had.
You were being a sustainable artist before you knew it.
I had no idea. I had no idea it was a thing. I had no idea it was going to help anyone or anything beyond just my own convenience. So, you know, in 2000, what the hell, where are we? 2000.
I know, we've missed a few years.
2019, I decided, like, I'm going to do this. Like, I finally got to that point where I, like, got up the courage, like, okay, I'm going to pursue my art professionally. I'm going to start doing this. And I decided to dedicate the craft to repurposing. Like, I would just collect unwanted art anywhere and everywhere that I could, and then I would remake it into something that was new and stylish and cool and hopefully marketable.
Other people like it.
Yeah, hopefully for someone else. But it kind of came together by accident, but at the same time, like, when I look back, it was all just, it all lined up. You know, and it was lining up almost like a divinely, you know, it was like, okay, now this goes here, and then this goes here, and now she's realizing this. But, you know, and then it came to the point where it's like, okay, this is a merging of style and sustainability. Because the art for me, it started more with like the style piece. Like, I wanted to feel like I was living in a stylish home. Like, I wanted to feel like I was living in luxury. And for me, that was like surrounding myself with artwork. Like, people who live in luxury have money to go buy artwork, to embellish their home. And so that was always like a thing for me. So it was the style piece for many years. And then, you know, the sustainability piece, it just kind of happened, you know, learning more and more. The more you know, So when you, like, go, for instance, when you go to these secondhand stores and look for clothes and stuff like that, I mean, they'll sell art. Do you look at their art and stuff like that? I started, yeah. Like Goodwill, you know, I would shop there so much. And I did start noticing, like, they actually have a huge housewares department.
Yes.
And I never really, like, would go over there. But where I was, like, just trying to fill my home here so quickly, I just was like, oh my God, I need more art and canvases. And one thing I love, I'm obsessed with antique frames. So I'm just building a collection of antique frames. and so I'll put modern art in the antique frames, and I love that juxtaposition of the old and the new.
Love that.
So it's kind of become like part of my signature style because I just love that. You know, it's a little avant-garde, it's a little unusual, but I love it.
Let's take a short break. When we come back, I want to talk about more of your love of art and kind of talk about how an artist develops into different stages and stuff like that. Let's take a short break. We'll come right back. Perfect. That's exactly what I want to do. I want to talk about how the artist changes, how you adapt, right? And how what goes on in life is really affecting your art and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I saw what you just posted too on the video. Like, where did you go that you just saw all these amazing antique frames and you were just posting about it? You're like, I'm so obsessed.
Oh my gosh, that's a great furniture store.
Okay. Yes, they did a speech.
At Gainey.
Yes.
At Gainey Village.
Yes.
The Gainey Shopping Center. Oh my God, you got to go in there.
I loved it. I was following you.
That would be a great podcast guest
Okay.
too. The owner, Jamilyn, she's
Okay.
fabulous.
Yeah, introduce me or something like that.
And she's been here for a long time, I think. But that store is gorgeous. But yeah, those frames are like relics.
I love it.
I think those were all sold, actually.
Okay.
Figures.
Because they're great.
But yeah.
All right, let's come back. All right, I am sitting here with our neighbor, Laura Madden. She's a sustainable artist. We've been talking about how she kind of got into this and how sustainability is really, honestly, the key to helping to save our future here, Laura. We were just talking about how your passion has really developed and really just started with you wanting to decorate your own house and your friends like, well, now I want your art too. How has your creations developed? And talk about the materials that you use. Because if you go on your Instagram and your website, and by the way, you can find all of that in the description of your website, links to that, you can see it changing, right? How do these ideas come to you, and how does life shape your art, really?
Yeah, it's been so interesting, and it's always changing. It really is always changing. I think the more I work, the more ideas I get, and it does continue to evolve. It's definitely gotten more bold.
Okay.
And I'm trying to take more risks. One of the things I'm doing right now that I think is unusual, weird, but I'm obsessed, is using the fabrics on the canvases.
Yes.
And it creates like texture, volume, so they're 3D. And I do feel like they're really weird. It's like the ultimate weirdness, but that really is so much a part of who I am. I just love the weirdness, and I'm sure other people are doing it, but I just had never seen it. And it came from this just itching, because I have so many bed sheets, pillowcases, slip covers. What do you do with that stuff when it's past its prime?
Yeah, so that's really what you're using, is that kind of stuff? And then you paint
everyday stuff. You got it all. People,
I have plenty.
Yeah, well, and most people just throw it away. And I just got to the point, so there's, right now, I think the statistic with the textiles, it's like 92 million tons of textiles go into landfill every year.
Every year?
On the planet. So we're talking the whole planet, so it's a lot of people. But still, that's a whole crap load of textiles. And it just creates so many problems when that goes in landfill, because as it starts to break down, it does release toxic gases. So it's really not good. It's not good
at all
for the environment. So anyway, I know not everyone's going to do this, but I have just got to be part of the solution. And I'm having so much fun doing it, because it's just unusual.
And every material creates something new, because it's its own art as well.
Yes. And I use all types of crazy paints. I don't know if I had mentioned this, but I love using leftover house paint. That's also part of what
everything really is.
But it works great. Yeah, I don't even know if other artists are using it. I do know some that use house paint. But in that part of that was moving here. The previous owner left all this junk behind for us that he shouldn't have left, but tons of house paint. And I was like, oh, damn it, I'm going to use it. I'm just going to start using this. And that got me started with a lot of the art that I have made to decorate our home, right off the bat. But the house paint creates some really nice texture.
Okay.
So I love it. And so another thing you probably have at home, everyone has leftover house paint. What do you do with it? Well, you could recycle it, but pretty much people make you jump through hoops to go to the recycling.
It's the worst.
Wherever, stand in line in your car. And that's great it's better than just throwing it in the trash, but there's a huge energy cost to recycling anything. So for me, it's like, how can I repurpose this? Like, how can I use it in another way so it doesn't even have to get to the point of needing to be recycled?
Goodness, you're going to need like studies, artists studying underneath you just to use the materials that you have, more or less what everyone else has to make their own art. That's crazy.
But so this is the thing, like another part of why I'm so passionate about this is I do want to encourage people to make your own art, because I tell you, it makes for an incredible conversational piece. Someone comes over to your home and it's like, oh, where'd you get that? I made it. People love, it just creates like the most fun, like topic of conversation, especially if you're having a party.
Instant talking point. I love it. Instant. I do one of, when I got married, my husband's best friend's wife, we'll go down that, she's an artist and she paints and she does a lot of abstract color stuff, and she gave me a painting for my wedding gift, and to this day every place we've lived in, and when you open my front door, it's the very first piece you have.
Wow.
And I love it because it's something that's special from someone I know, and it has that intimacy, and it was for us. And so you're right, it is always a conversation piece when you walk in at parties and stuff like that, and it's bright and bold and it's unique. And I think that's like stuff like you, Laura, that you're creating, it's one of a kind. Not that other professional painters and artists aren't doing their own one-of-a-kind thing. We're talking about Scottsdale here. Yeah. And I think that's what makes it so special, too. It is yours. It has your name on it, and it's everything that's from around here. So it really is a piece of Scottsdale in the Valley with that.
Totally.
I feel like artists go through stages. You adapt, your art changes with you, your mood, the weather, the colors available. How have you seen your art adapt since you finally started? And I say finally because, like you said, it's been in you forever. You just adapted to it a few years ago. How have you seen that change?
It's funny. I'm always trying to use more color.
Really?
I'm always trying. I love neutrals. If I could do neutrals all day, all night, I would. And so I do use some color, but I'm still in love with the neutrals, and I'm just adding more texture. It's like, how can I make this new and different, but still with these colors that might all look the same? Mm-hmm. I just love doing that. I do color only for my husband. he's like, not another like white painting. Like, I want some color. So I do have color, but it's minimal. It's really just how can we do this differently using these same types of colors, the neutrals.
I like what you do too, because it could be the same texture kind of pieces, but two different colors. And so really when you put them next to each other, you have two different art pieces right there on one wall.
Yes.
Yeah, to compromise each other, to help each other, blend with each other.
Yeah.
What are you working on right now?
I'm continuing to develop this textural, or the 3D series. I call it Refashion, Resculpt.
I like it.
Because it looks sculptural. So I'm continuing to develop that. And I just want to see how far I can push that. It's still new. I haven't sold a ton of those. So I really want to get more of those out into the market so I can get the feedback and get people's thoughts. So I'm, at the end of the day, I'm still pretty new. It's just been, coming up.
3 years.
Yeah, coming up on 3 years in the fall. So 2.5 years.
That's crazy. Look how far you've come in such a short time.
I don't know. I'll never be satisfied, but it's really just like growing my customer base, growing the clientele, and I'm just getting myself out there, as much as I can, because it's not just selling art. I need to sell art because I'm making a business, and I want this to be a business that I am in long term, but it is so much more about the mission as well. It's like just sharing more style, less waste. It's not just about selling art. So it's like really...
There's a whole purpose and message behind each piece as well.
Yeah.
And that's the bigger picture for you think?
Impact. I want to have an impact. Yeah. It's the
art.
driving force, because art sales are slow. It's not necessarily like an impulse buy, like you might go into a store and buy a bracelet or a bag, a designer bag or something, because it's like everyone has it, and you're just going to get it. But art is usually something that's very, very well thought out. Over a long period of time, people finally decide, oh yeah, I'm going to, take up some very valuable real estate in my home with this piece. It's like a long-term thought process to actually getting someone to buy a piece of art in most cases.
Yeah.
So it's really about like how much impact can I have, like sharing this message. And so it's continuing to morph. It's continuing to evolve.
Where can we find your art?
Well, online.
Okay.
Probably the best. Although I will tell you, and I'll share this with you when I get there, I'm going to be doing more open houses.
Perfect.
Everything is at my home and my studio, and it's the best way to get the art shown. But for now, it's my website, iamlauramadden.com, or shop.iamlauramadden.com.
Okay. And again, we'll have all of that in the description.
Instagram,
Oh, yeah.
I hate to admit I basically live on there.
You have to. We can
It's
fight
an artist's life.
We can fight it, but it's inevitable. That's where we are. This is going to be a hard question for you, I think, because you're so involved and just so you see beauty in what's surrounded by us. But what is your favorite Scottsdale vibe?
Oh my gosh.
I know, I told you.
My favorite Scottsdale vibe. I feel like I'm a little bit like of the unusual Scottsdale vibe. I'm not really your typical Scottsdale vibe, but I like the Scottsdale vibe that's like cutting edge. I feel like there's like a air of cutting edge style, beauty, and just like the nature, the desertscape. It feels cutting edge to me. And a lot of it's new, a lot of it's like new here. So it feels cutting edge. And, people always traveling here for what we have. And so, I know there's a lot of other Scottsdale, like, I guess, trends and, the typical
I like standing out in a different way by not being what you see every day kind of thing.
Yes.
I'm with you. Yeah. I had someone tell me, like, I love Scottsdale because of how bright it is, and I was wearing all black like you today. And I was like, but I love accessories. So, like, I love bright enough with my accessories, so I will wear all black. So I totally know I like being the opposite to stand out in that way.
Yes.
Yeah,
totally.
I like it.
Totally.
Laura, I had the best time with you hanging out. Your art's beautiful. I follow you on Instagram. I go to your website constantly, and I honestly love like the black and white and gold, your colors that you're working on, because it goes back to accessories, right? Totally. It accessorizes, put that on a color wall or something like that, and it'll stand out, and the texture you use makes it stand out. So you can go see an all-white piece of Laura's, and you'll see colors come out to you because of everything that you add into it. So I love where you're headed. I love, love, love the sustainability aspect, and I have no doubt that this is the beginning of something special for you.
Thank you.
All right, stay tuned. When we come back, we'll have the calendar of events. In the meantime, go check out Laura Madden on Instagram, social media everywhere, as well as her website, iamlauramadden.com.